We're going to wrap up LSU talk today by really getting into where we think this Alabama team is heading down the stretch.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that is him. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. Gametime, I will talk about Gametime in just a little bit. Thanks for making us your first listen. You guys are the absolute best. By the way, programming note, I did hear you loud and clear. It is football season. People want more football talk than they do basketball right now. I understand that. Jimmy and I are also big Alabama basketball fans, so we will sneak that in towards the end of this episode. But I heard you loud and clear, and yes, we will still get basketball info out there, especially when it's in the heat of basketball season. But for right now, I want to talk a little bit more about this LSU game. And Jimmy, I'm kind of glad we took a respite from it yesterday because, frankly, I needed to chill a little bit. This Dallas Turner thing, it's really gotten me in a bit of a tizzy. I'm so tired of people like Tim Brando. I'm so tired of some LSU homers, LSU Twitter folks, Tennessee Twitter folks, Auburn Twitter folks, whatever, going off on Dallas Turner. And frankly, they point to evidence about the Quinn Ewers hit last year, which, again, I thought was a good football hit. In today's climate, it ends up being rough in the passer. Okay, I get it. I understand. I don't love it, but I get it. And same thing with Jaden Daniels. He was penalized. If your only gripe is that he should have been called for targeting, it really doesn't change anything. And then if your gripe is he's a dirty player, I'm going to totally push back on that. But I'm glad I sort of had a moment to chill on that, because what we really need to be discussing is how this team is coming together, how this team is blossoming, how this team is finding more identity, how Tommy Rees is getting comfortable calling plays now, how Jalen Milroe is looking better and better. His presence in the pocket, his pocket awareness is getting better. I know LSU's defensive line isn't great. We only gave up 2 sacks. Got to give something up for the offensive line for that. Got to talk about how Jaden Roberts has improved. We're just getting more people involved. Jam Miller's emergence. He didn't take one single offensive snap against Tennessee, and then he comes in and has some incredibly nice plays against LSU. Hey, I think we used that off week very, very well, which tells me this coaching staff they're still on top of their game.
Yeah. And get back to the Dallas thing real quick. It's kind of, I read all this dirty player stuff. The evidence of him being a dirty player is 2 sacks and 3 seasons of being a starting player. He started for 3 full seasons, and not full, but he started most of his freshman year, his entire sophomore year, and now we're 3/4 of the way through his junior year, and you got 2 plays to show me in 3 years, and he's a dirty player.
They do point out the Jackson Dart face mask, which again was purely accidental, and it could have happened to anybody. And it happened to Jalen Waddle against LSU in 2019, and nobody said that guy was dirty.
I didn't even remember that, which shows how innocuous that was. That hit that Bryce suffered at Tennessee last year, far more brutal. And I can't tell you what Tennessee player did it. Why are we obsessing over that? It's just, to me, it's just silly, frankly. But does Dallas Turner play hard? Yes. Does he play with an edge? Yes. Is he often hitting the quarterback? Yeah, because he's a great player. He's a great player, not a dirty player. And let's see what the NFL thinks about him, folks, before strangers that don't know him render judgment on Twitter. But the LSU game, I think the team is, Alabama wouldn't have won that game in September. To me, that's the takeaway. If Alabama played that game in week 1, week 2, or week 3, probably even week 4 of the college football season, there's no way Alabama would have won that game. The offense couldn't have matched LSU's scores. I don't care how bad LSU's defense is. To me, that game was about the evolution of the offense and how far the offense has come, because in a game when, hey, the defense isn't going to win this game for you. The offense is going to have to score. The defense can't shut out LSU or keep them to 17. The offense has to win the game, and they did. And they not only did, they did sort of handily. You know what I mean? I think, what was it? They scored touchdowns on 7 of 8 possessions and kept the ball basically the entirety of the fourth quarter. These were things that Alabama was just incapable of doing in September, and now they can do it. And I realize how bad LSU is on defense. I know that, but but Alabama still, even against that defense, would not have been able to do that in September. So great coaching, hard work, and the offensive line improving and Jalen Milroe improving together. And Alabama really is a good team. They're ranked 8th. I think that's probably a little low, to be honest. I think they should be 7th myself. I think they should be ahead of Oregon, in my opinion. But they really are the 8th best team in the country and improving.
Yeah, they definitely are. We're going to talk about did they turn the corner here in the next segment. And then in the next podcast after this one, we're going to talk about I want to pick out like 3 players and do a segment on each one, because I think that we're beginning to see some guys emerge. I mean, we talk about Jalen Milroe practically every podcast, and we should, because he's intriguing. You know, Brad Nessler said it best. He said, boy, he's got $1 million smile, doesn't he? And he does. And that's what I've been saying all along. You know, we still get some comments on the YouTubes about how, oh, man, you guys still can't give Jalen Milroe a compliment. Man, I can't love the guy any more than I do. I mean, honestly. But I think it's also fair. Who wants to listen to a podcast where Jimmy and I get on here and just say, Jalen Milroe is awesome, he deserves the Heisman. Jalen Milroe is the best quarterback we've ever had. No, what we're saying is, when we were talking about him at the beginning of the season, there was clearly room for growth. But I've said this all along, his ceiling is very high. I've also said this all along. Back in the summer, I said this. The best thing for the University of Alabama is if Jalen Milroe wins the job and is good at the job. That's best for Alabama. That's best for all of us, because he is incredibly charismatic, because he is uber talented, because he is personable, because he is he's a guy you want to be the face of the program. That is so true. The problem was he had some growth issues to get over, and it looks like he's getting there. So I'm again, I think it's very fair to say I'm trying to compliment Jalen Milroe at every turn. And again, we could talk about him every podcast. I love him. I want him to be the best. And you and I have both said, hey, look, he's not winning the Heisman this year. We know that. But I'm not ruling out he's going to be one of the favorites next year. But so we want to talk about some guys like Kendrick.
It's a little unfair to have that as the standard, right? You must be the best player in all of college football, or you can't quarterback this football team.
Well,
that's sort of absurd.
And it's unfair because we've set that standard, because we've had Tua, we've had Mac, we've had Bryce. These guys have all been in the top 3 of the Heisman voting if they didn't win it. Jalen Hurts too. They've all been right in the thick of it if they didn't win it. And so it is unfair. It's unfair to Milroe that we've held him to that standard. And I get that. I also get that there's some people who just like to go to one end of the spectrum or the other. And they say, if you don't love him, you must hate him. That is not true. By the way, we do love him. We just knew there were some issues in his game that need to be fixed, but he's fixing them, and he's fixing them fast. And Jalen Milroe needs a ton of credit. Tommy Rees needs a lot of credit. Nick Saban needs a lot of credit. When we look back on this season, if this thing keeps going the way it's going right now, we're going to look back on that South Florida game as literally one of the best things that could have happened to Alabama. So, but Jimmy, when we come back, I want to talk about this team and has it turned a corner? But right now I want to tell everybody about FanDuel. Look, FanDuel.com/lockedon. You're going to love it. I'm pulling up my FanDuel app right now. You can go there and you can see on my phone. I got it right there on my app. And you can go to Alabama, Kentucky. They've got all kind of fun spreads, all kind of alternate props, everything. Go check out FanDuel.com because you also want to check it out because of the NFL. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. That's amazing. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time than right now to do that. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, much more, all kind of stuff. It's all kind of fun. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season or the college football season. FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. I like your pointing right there at the end.
NFL. Official partner, NFL.
By the way, I thought Quinnen Williams looked really good last night on Monday Night Football. And CJ Mosley did too. And there was a great story on ESPN before the Monday Night Football about Quinnen Williams and Quincy Williams. So, okay, Jimmy, has this team turned a corner? And it's my answer is yes. The more I think about this LSU game, the happier I am. And look, if you ever listen to this podcast, you know I almost dislike Auburn as much as I like Alabama in terms of a athletic program. Auburn, the city, is great. I like Auburn, the city. My brother lives there. It's really nice. It's really clean, whatever. Auburn, the university, hey, we've done some business with them. I appreciate that. The sports program, that's what makes it a rivalry, right? And so I'm not saying anything to try and offend anybody. I'm just saying, hey, I'm a big part of this rivalry. I enjoy it. But I don't enjoy playing Auburn ever. I never enjoy it. I never get the satisfaction out of it. Tennessee, I just can't hate them the way other people hate them. I can't do it. I just don't. I'm beginning to really enjoy beating LSU as much as I enjoy beating anybody. Now, Georgia is different, but we don't play them as much. But my satisfaction level in beating LSU is as high as it is for beating anybody. Again, when we beat Auburn, all I feel is relief. When we beat Tennessee, I'm like, okay, what's next? Because we've had such a nice run against them. We've had a good run against LSU, 11 of the last 13. But the thing about LSU is I do respect them a ton as a program. I respect them a ton as an SEC member because I believe they bring so much color and personality to the SEC, which I truly appreciate. I've always said that's why the SEC is the best, because we have the most unique personalities and characters in all of college sports, if not sports in general. We are exactly what you think we are. LSU people are exactly as
colorful,
stereotypical as you think.
Colorful.
Colorful. But I mean, they're unique, and I enjoy it. And because the rivalry is what it is, and especially with Saban being there now, I get more satisfaction out of beating LSU than I do out of beating anybody. And so I feel like maybe it's just me being on this euphoric high that we beat them and I'm super satisfied. But man, Jimmy, I'm telling you, I feel like we're as good as anybody right now.
I think your feelings about all the rivals are colored by what's happened during the Saban era. I mean, in the sense that there's a feeling like that when you beat LSU, because during the Saban era, LSU has been the best of between our main rivals, LSU, Tennessee, and Auburn. LSU's been the best over the 15 or 16 years. Beating them is more of an accomplishment. I mean, in the sense that that most years LSU is a national elite type program. Tennessee has massively struggled throughout most of the Saban era. They're only recently good again. And Auburn has this weird thing where they're not very great for 2 or 3 years, and then all of a sudden they're great for a year, and then they won't be good again for a couple of years. It sort of seems like that. That's what was kind of weird during the Saban era. When Auburn was good, they're very, very good. But most of the time they haven't been. And this is all due to recruiting. We all recruit from the same pool of players. And Alabama and LSU signed more good players than Tennessee and Auburn. So, but in terms of whether Alabama's turned a corner, the answer to me clearly is yes. But what I would say is that they have yet to play a game, not one time this year, through 9 games now. I don't think Alabama's played a game, Luke, where I would feel like, okay, that performance was good enough to beat Georgia. They've played stretches where it's good enough to beat Georgia. Second half LSU, second half Tennessee, second half of a few games. They've played halves and quarters where, hey, that's good enough to beat Georgia, but we got to see a 60-minute game to beat them. You got to be good from the opening kick till there's zeros on the clock. We haven't seen that yet. I think that's what this next 3 weeks is about, including Chattanooga. It's Kentucky, Chattanooga, Auburn. This is the stretch to start putting it all together. You don't have to play your best game of the year to win any of those 3 games, to be honest. You don't have to play the best game you played in 2023 to beat Kentucky, Chattanooga, or Auburn. But you do to beat Georgia. So to me, it's about getting you get all the puzzle pieces together, right? And you get them all on the table before the puzzle's put together. Let's get all the pieces on the table over the next 3 weeks. And against Georgia, put it together. Boom, this team miraculously made the college football playoff.
Yeah. And you and I have said this forever. Actually, I think you coined it, and so I'll give it to you. But you said that you play your best a couple times a year, you play your worst a couple times a year, and everything else in between is what you actually are. And I'm hoping we save that best for Georgia. I think we're going to need it. I mean, Georgia's a great team. I don't think they're invincible. I certainly don't think they're unbeatable. And I feel like it's going to end up being Alabama and Georgia. Let's get this Kentucky win, certainly. But
you got to be lucky and match up. Okay, the 2 or 3 best weeks we played all year were the best teams we played against. We saved our best was against Georgia. Our best was against LSU. Our best was against, Ole Miss. And then when there's clunkers, because there's going to be clunkers, the clunker in Tampa, there's going to be clunkers. You hope they line up with teams. Well, we can beat them with our not just our C game, but the D and the F game. We can still beat these guys. So that's what we talk about when it takes a little luck. I mean, you have to be playing well at the right time, and so far so good, right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I know this may be a little bit off topic, but I can't help but get this out of my head. I think about it all the time. We're so unfortunate that we're on this run, and we always have to play Auburn at the end of the year, because typically either Auburn's extraordinarily good, like 2013, 2010, or they're not good. Therefore, they don't have a great record. Therefore, it doesn't really matter what happens in the bowl game or whatever. They're not really a factor. And we're their Super Bowl. So we have to play their Super Bowl and then play the SEC title game. That's kind of – I wish we had sort of a Georgia Tech that we could face or something like Georgia. Or if, and I know it's traditional, and I'm really a traditionalist, that, so I don't really want to change or whatever. But it would be nice if we played Auburn more in the middle of the year and played, Mississippi State right before the SEC title game, but wasn't for Vandy. But anyway, it is what it is. I'm not trying to complain about that. I'm just saying that's more of my.
You think Auburn will beat Arkansas this weekend?
I'm sorry?
You think Auburn will beat Arkansas this weekend?
I'm leaning no. We'll get to that in predictions, but I'm leaning no, and my reasoning is, I'll tell you, I think Arkansas getting rid of Dan Enos and putting this other guy in there, I think it's wonderful timing for them. First of all, they got to play a bad team on the road, and a Florida team that's sort of struggling in its own, wallowing in its own self-crapulence, to steal something from The Simpsons. And they get the win, they boost their confidence, and now they play at home, and that will reignite the crowd, I think, a little bit. And KJ Jefferson's a good quarterback. I mean, and Rocket Sanders is a good running back. And Auburn did look better against Mississippi State and Vandy, but it's Mississippi State and Vandy. Those are the 2 worst teams in the league. So
yeah, I think Arkansas is going to win too. I think it'll be tight, but I think Arkansas will win. Yeah,
we will get to that later on this week. And we are going to talk, just want to make everybody aware, we got to talk about that basketball game last night in the next segment. And we're going to do that next, because that was amazing. And look, if you wanted to go to that basketball game last night, you could have used the Gametime app. I love Gametime. I'm telling you, people, I love it. I'm not kidding. I've got it right here on my phone. I will pull it up. And there it is right there. It's coming. There's supposed to be. It's coming up in a minute. That's my Wi-Fi. That's not my app. Oh, here it is right here. Look right there. It's all right there. And Love Game Time. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first order. When you go to Game Time, download that app. You're going to love it. It's so easy. It's so easy. I've used it several times now. I'm telling you, I only tried it because they became a sponsor, and now I'm hooked. I can't wait to use it some more. I'm going. Little known secret. I'm going to get my son Final Four tickets. He goes to Arizona State, and I'm going to get him Final Four tickets, and I might get him through the Game Time app. In fact, I'm planning on it because the Final Four is in Phoenix this year, and so I'm thinking he and I will go to the Final Four this year. Hopefully, Alabama's there. But if we go, we're going to use that Game Time app. Locked On College for $20 off. You will absolutely love this thing. The best prices. You can see where your seats are going to be. You'll love it. Go check it out. Game Time. Game Time. Game Time. Okay, Jimmy, we got to talk basketball last night. First of all, all I'm going to do is put up a picture for those on YouTube. That is Grant Nelson. Get used to it. Understand he is awesome. Understand the mustache is going to become a thing. I'm tempted to, Jimmy, tell you that you and I should grow a mustache just for this. Gosh. I'm not really good at growing beards, by the way. But there was so much to like last night. Even the guys like Davin Cosby, who didn't play like a crucial role, when they got in, you didn't see a big drop off. When Grant Nelson was awesome, Estrada was awesome, Mark Sears was awesome. I mean, you just go down the list. Pringle, Pringle still got hops for days. It's going to be such a fun season, and I know it got a little sloppy towards the end. I understand that. And Alabama ended up winning pretty big, 105 to whatever it was. But I'm telling you guys, it got sloppy towards the end. It doesn't. We're just trying to figure out our rotation right now. We got a game against Indiana State on Friday night. They're pretty good. I'm going to tell you something. This Morehead State team's good. They lost their best player to an ACL, I think, before the game, maybe a couple weeks. But they're going to be good. And Alabama eviscerated them. And Grant Nelson was like, man, I love this. This was awesome. Student section was awesome. But he did call out the fans a little bit and say, hey, we want to see even more fans in the stands. And I'm right there with him. I hope that people give this team their due, because I'm going to tell you something else. Here's something this is just something I thought about on the way down here. James Madison beat Michigan State last night. Tom Izzo ain't getting any younger. When Michigan State looks for a new coach, my bet is their first call is to Nate Oates. And I want to make sure that Nate Oates hangs around here, God willing, as long as he can be here. Because I'm going to tell you something. If you don't love this dude by now, you ain't going to love an Alabama basketball coach.
It really is the golden era of Alabama basketball, in the sense that recruiting's never gone better. Might be a commitment the next day or two, so be looking for that. But, that's what we think at BOL. Nas Cunningham, very likely come into Alabama, or at least we're optimistic there. But regardless of how great recruiting's going, what's going on the floor is so exciting. The fact that Nate Oates can rebuild this roster every single year with all new guys and still have a machine out there. And it was fun. I think that starting five is extremely gifted. Loved what we, of course, saw to Grant Nelson. Aaron Estrada, I think, is going to be a really, really good player. The freshman, Jaron Stevenson, oh, boy, he's something.
Was he not Noah Clowney? He was Noah Clowney.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's an obvious comp with Noah Clowney because of the age. Let's remember, Jaron Stevenson is supposed to be in high school. He is a reclassification guy. I mean, he's supposed to be one of the very best prospects, a 5-star in this recruiting class, a 2024 class. Instead, he graduated early from high school. So he's playing his senior year of high school in the SEC at Alabama. Boy, he's something. And yeah, he's a lot like Clowney. I would say this, though, in this way, a little different. I think he's a better shooter than Clowney. Clowney could shoot it for a big dude.
Oh, yeah.
I think Jaron might even be a better shooter, and maybe not quite the enforcer around the basket that Noah was. So it was a little bit of a trade-off there. But in terms of talent level, yeah, Noah. I mean, he's that guy. So it's deep. Alabama played 11 guys in the first half last night, all 11 scholarship players that were available. I think last night was a lot about looking at all 11. That rotation will shrink as the rotation shrinks, I think the team gets even better. But Estrada, Sears, Griffin, Stevenson, Nelson. Wow, that fivesome is good. And then you're bringing Sam Walters and Nick Pringle off the bench, I think, eventually. And they'll both be great in that role, in my opinion, playing a lot of minutes off the bench. This is a really good team. In my opinion, they looked like a team last night that will strongly contend to win the league again.
No, I'm right there with you. And I'm going to tell you something else. This league is loaded. This is a good year for the SEC. I mean, Tennessee's got some dudes. Kentucky obviously has dudes. I watched Georgia, Oregon a little bit. Georgia's got some work to do, but they're recruiting their tails off, so they'll be better next year. Ole Miss with Chris Beard, you know they're going to be tough. I can't wait to watch Auburn tonight take on Baylor. So, man, I know, and we're football guys first too. We understand where some of you guys are coming from, but man, you got to be excited for Grant Nelson last night. That guy was ridiculous.
Very NBA. He's got an NBA. He has an NBA ready game. I mean, it's not like, wow, one day he could. No, it's like that dude could play in the NBA right now, and he could. But I think there's some improving left. I think he was really smart to stay in school. I'm not talking about just picking Alabama, which thank goodness he did. But I think he was really smart to stay in school because I think even though he could play in the NBA now, and had he stayed in the draft, he was probably, a second-round pick. This is a kid that could move toward the lottery with improvement, and playing with and against premium athletes every night is just going to help Grant Nelson. And I think the goal for him isn't just the NBA. I think the goal for him is the lottery, and I think it's very, very possible he could be among the top 14 picks in the NBA draft next June.
All right, everybody, when we come back next time, we will be talking about I want to pick 3 players we can talk about and sort of focus on them for 3 segments. That's what I want to do.
Cool.
Kendrick Law will definitely be one of them. And we're going to do that next time we have Locked On Bama. And until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.